A black attorney was publicly humiliated over parking his official vehicle, turning an ordinary day into a catastrophe. A police officer escalated the situation, and the incident's video took the public by storm. What Eric did next shocked everyone. But let's start from the beginning. Eric Wilson left home earlier than usual. This day was significant. He was tasked with delivering confidential documents to City Hall for a morning meeting. A city-issued SUV was parked at the curb, ready for the trip. Double-checking his folder of papers, Eric got behind the wheel and headed downtown. When he arrived at City Hall, he saw that the usual parking lot was closed for repairs. After a moment's hesitation, he parked on a street where parking was temporarily prohibited. A bright sticker on the windshield identified the SUV as a municipal vehicle. Eric assumed he'd be quick and that it wouldn't cause any problems. He locked the car and headed into the building. Meanwhile, Officer Douglas was patrolling the area. In his early 40s, Douglas had sharp features and a perpetually stern expression. His reputation preceded him. He was known for being strict, nitpicky, and worst of all, biased. Slowly driving down the street, Douglas scrutinized everything in his path. When his eyes landed on the black SUV with tinted windows, they narrowed. "Another violator," he muttered sarcastically, slowing down near the vehicle. Stepping out of his patrol car, Douglas approached the SUV. The luxurious interior and immaculate condition of the vehicle caught his attention. But instead of noticing the municipal sticker, Douglas focused on the license plate and arrogantly began issuing a citation. Eric, finishing his business faster than expected, left City Hall feeling good. However, his steps faltered as he saw the officer by his vehicle, writing something in a notebook. "Good morning, officer," Eric began calmly. "I parked here temporarily. This is a municipal vehicle. I'll be leaving right away." The officer turned, giving him a once-over with cold skepticism. "Are you the owner of this car?" Douglas asked sharply, completely ignoring Eric's explanation. "No, it's a city-issued vehicle. I'm an attorney on city business. Here are my credentials if needed," Eric replied, keeping his composure. Douglas smirked. "Look, I don't care what you're saying. Rules are rules. You broke them, and I'm issuing a ticket." "I've explained that it's a municipal vehicle," Eric countered, sensing the situation slipping out of control. "Rules are rules. Don't want a ticket? Park legally," Douglas snapped back. A crowd began to gather. Passers-by slowed, some taking out their phones to record. Eric, aware of how quickly the conflict could escalate, tried reasoning again. "Officer, let's resolve this calmly. You can verify that this is a city vehicle. I don't want any trouble." But Douglas, seemingly enjoying the scene, called for backup. His voice grew louder. "Do you have anything else to prove your case? You realize I could have this car towed?" The murmurs among the crowd grew. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Hey, that's Eric Wilson, the attorney who won a case against the police." Eric felt the weight of everyone's gaze on him. His name was turning a personal incident into a public confrontation. He glanced at Douglas, who appeared to relish the unfolding drama. The crowd buzzed, phones captured everything, and videos were already being shared on social media. Eric exhaled, realizing that a simple conversation wouldn't diffuse this spectacle. The crowd around Eric's SUV continued to grow. Phones recorded every moment, and comments flew from onlookers. Eric could feel the tension rising. Officer Douglas raised his hand, commanding silence. "Everyone stay back. This is an official investigation," he declared, ignoring Eric's protests. Eric tried to remain calm. "Officer, for the last time, this is a city vehicle. You can verify it in the database." Douglas smirked. "I have my methods," he replied, pulling out his radio. "Tow truck to Grand Street. We've got a violator." Gasps rippled through the crowd. A few people, recognizing Eric, spoke up. "He's a city attorney. Can't you see the sticker? Why does he need to prove anything?" But Douglas doubled down, his tone harsher. "Everyone disperse. This is none of your business. The violator will be ticketed, and that's final." Eric raised his hand to calm the crowd, though anger simmered inside him. He knew this wasn't just about a parking violation. He'd faced this kind of bias before. At that moment, another police car arrived. 2 officers stepped out, one a junior lieutenant named Marsh. Marsh seemed uneasy, sensing the growing tension. "Douglas, what's going on here?" he asked, surveying the crowd and the SUV with its city-issued sticker. "Just another violator," Douglas replied coldly, nodding toward Eric. "That's not accurate," Eric interjected firmly. "I'm a city attorney. This is a municipal vehicle. All you need to do is check your system." Marsh reached for his radio, but Douglas stopped him sharply. "I've got this under control." "Control? You called a tow truck for a city vehicle?" Marsh asked, incredulous. By now, videos of the incident were flooding social media. Cries of, "This is discrimination," and "Why won't you listen to him?" grew louder. Finally, an older man in a suit stepped forward from the crowd. "I know this man," he said loudly. "He works with City Hall. Officer, you're making a grave mistake." Douglas turned, his face reddening with irritation. "And who are you to tell me how to do my job?" "I'm the deputy mayor," the man replied calmly, showing his badge. The crowd fell silent. Douglas froze, while Marsh quickly stepped in. "We'll sort this out immediately, sir," Marsh said, glancing between Eric and Douglas. But it was too late. The video of the escalating confrontation had gone viral. The hashtag #JusticeForEric began trending, and news outlets picked up the story. Douglas was pulled aside by Marsh, but Eric knew this had already grown beyond a mere parking dispute. The incident quickly became a nationwide topic of discussion. Videos showing Officer Douglas's confrontational behavior, Eric's calm responses, and the crowd's protests spread like wildfire. By evening, the hashtag #JusticeForEric dominated social media platforms. The event transcended a local dispute, sparking broader conversations about racial bias, abuse of power, and systemic inequality. In City Hall, a meeting was called to address the situation. The deputy mayor, fresh from the scene, recounted the events to city officials. "We cannot allow incidents like this to go unchecked. Officer Douglas's behavior has embarrassed the city," he stated firmly. The mayor, visibly upset, nodded in agreement. The following morning, Eric was summoned for a private meeting. "Eric, I've seen the footage. We both know this isn't an isolated incident," the mayor began. "Douglas's actions were unprofessional, but this speaks to a larger problem. What do you suggest we do?" Eric, who had spent the night reviewing his options, replied thoughtfully. "We need to address the root cause, not just the symptoms. A public investigation is necessary, and I propose leading the case myself. This isn't just about me. It's about ensuring this doesn't happen again to anyone else." The mayor agreed, and by midday, a press conference was arranged. Eric stood before a sea of cameras, addressing the public with clarity and conviction. "Yesterday's incident was more than a misunderstanding. It was a symptom of a deeper issue. I want to thank those who stood up for justice and my colleagues at City Hall for their support. This is not just my fight. It's a fight for every citizen who has faced discrimination or unfair treatment. Together, we will seek accountability and systemic change." His speech ignited a wave of support. Civil rights organizations voiced solidarity, activists organized rallies, and the story dominated news headlines. Calls for an investigation into Officer Douglas and the broader police department grew louder. Within days, a city commission convened to investigate Officer Douglas's actions. Eric presented an airtight case, including video evidence, witness statements, and records of prior complaints against Douglas. Standing before the commission, Eric spoke with measured determination. "This case is not just about me. It's about a pattern of behavior that undermines public trust in law enforcement. We must hold individuals accountable while addressing the systemic issues that allow such behavior to persist." Witnesses took the stand, recounting what they saw that day. Videos captured Douglas's dismissive attitude and aggressive demeanor. But the most damning evidence came from within the department itself. A junior officer, Lieutenant Marsh, testified about Douglas's actions. "He ignored clear evidence that the vehicle was city-issued. When I tried to check the records, He stopped me and insisted on escalating the situation. This wasn't protocol, it was personal. Douglas, called to testify, remained defiant. I was following the rules, he argued. The car was parked illegally, and the driver seemed suspicious. Eric pressed him. Suspicious? Based on what? Did the municipal sticker on the windshield not catch your attention? Douglas hesitated, his confidence wavering. I didn't notice it, he mumbled. Or perhaps you chose not to, Eric retorted. Tell us, officer, why was a black attorney in a municipal vehicle automatically suspicious to you? The room fell silent as Douglas struggled to respond. After hours of deliberation, the commission reached a decision. Officer Douglas was found guilty of misconduct and dismissed from the force. Furthermore, the case was referred to the district attorney's office for possible criminal charges. The outcome was met with widespread applause from the public. However, Eric knew that this was only the beginning.